The Nintendo Switch 2 has had an incredible launch with big releases, but these are our top 10 games thus far. So be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. Number 10. Octopath Traveler 0. The first new Square Enix game launched for the Nintendo Switch 2, and it is just like the prior turn-based entries on Nintendo Switch, solid. A game that isn't exclusive to the system, but with its solid gameplay, best storyline in the series, and 100 plus hours of gameplay, it is on the list. So why not higher? Simple. We aren't big turn-based fans, and definitely not at this length. Still, we recognize the quality and brilliance of this title, and as a result, it deserves to be the list open. Number 9. Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. Long awaited, and sadly, this is the game on the list with the most issues that cannot be fixed due to the structure and design of the game. In particular, towards its climax, as this is a game that starts out as a 10 out of 10, but by the end of its desert bike run, drops down a notch or two. But the reason it still is on this list is that it's gorgeous in its visual and design department, and when it clicks, it has the potential of being the best game on the Nintendo Switch 2. Upscaled 4K 60fps is a real thing, and so is 120fps in Full HD. A demonstration of what the Nintendo Switch 2 is capable of, and what would have been top if it stayed away from the temptation of an open and empty desert. It is clear that the inspiration was Metroid Prime cross open as Zelda, only without the polish and content to reach that level. As a result, it will likely not stay for long this generation in our top 10 Switch 2 games, and that is the real disappointment when it could have been so much more. Number 8. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. The game that fixed the story of Tears of the Kingdom, with a good canon story, but didn't add much more beyond the bare minimum. The Muso gameplay is definitely an improvement over Age of Calamity, and it is the canon story and the refined gameplay that are the main reason why it is on this list, and higher than Metroid as it doesn't have the same problems. Is it the best Hyrule Warriors title? In some regards, definitely. In others, like lack of playable villain characters, it definitely isn't. At the same time, near fully stable 60 frames per second and free DLC are definitely big positives, and the game does deliver where it needs to, concluding the Switch saga of open as Zelda. At the same time, it fell short of the higher 80s and 90s by our book by not taking full advantage of the new layers that Tears of the Kingdom offered, namely the sky and the depths as key landmarks from both the sky and the depths, and anything extra that could have been from the distant past of this Zelda game is far less utilized than what was the case with Age of Calamity, which took advantage of pretty much everything that was on the surface. Calamity messed up by going for a different ending. This one missed a chance to give more to explore and have more unique venues to fight in the distant past. Number 7. Cyberpunk 2077 Ultimate Edition. The first, not new game on this list, but let's call it the Switch 2 Edition entries. And what an entry this is. The ultimate futuristic open world city experience that pushes this system to its absolute limits. You may not run in upscaled 4K or 60 frames per second, but the scope, size and detail here is unrivaled for a third-party game. Just like CD Projekt Red's previous success, Witcher 3 on the Nintendo Switch, Cyberpunk 2077 on Switch 2 comes with all free updates and DLC, and that includes Cyberpunk Edgerunners content. On top of that, this version comes with the even better 15 to 20 hour long Phantom Liberty expansion with new explorable territory in Night City, all polished to the level that this Polish game developer aims to deliver, and at a fair price, $70, and all on a single cartridge, no downloads required. Number 6. Mario Kart World. The launch of the Nintendo Switch 2 on June 5th, 2025. Definitely a controversial one, and there are two reasons why the latest Mario Kart isn't near the top of the list: the open world and intermissions. Since this isn't the Forza Horizon experience that many of us expected. Instead, it's a game that divided a passionate fanbase that was fully on board after Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and its Booster Course Pass delivered true value for money on the Nintendo Switch. In fact, the game would have been lower on this list if it wasn't for the most recent brilliant update, which improved said intermissions. But the problem is still there in online for players who just want to play regular races, not what is found in between. With that said, the game has excellent gameplay and a big character roster, though not without sacrifices from 8. The game is still available for $50 for the main Nintendo Switch 2 bundle, but the moment we're back to 80, I would say that this game drops to the 8th position on this list. Number 5, Kirby Air Riders. Masahiro Sakurai always delivers, and Kirby Air Riders is no exception. And he, for the massive 2 game-specific Nintendo Directs, didn't lie. This is a game that is filled with crazy contraptions and awesome variety, playstyles and minigames that makes this the ultimate Kirby racing game. Top tier music with a sound menu so you can listen to them over and over again and adjust how often they also play. Check. Smooth gameplay in 60 frames per second. Check. Far greater character variety than the GameCube original, so after sleekest menus and presentation, story mode with boss battles, check, check, and once again, check. This game is what Mario Kart World should have been. A small open world with purpose and packed with action, multiple ways of experiencing the races and rides, and far more than just stickers as rewards. Launching the same year as Mario Kart would normally be a big mistake, but here it feels just appropriate, as even the naysayers and grifters agree that this game is awesome. A worthy inclusion in the top 5, and it could have been even higher if it had even more racing tracks, and it is stats and some really expensive amiibo, but they don't do much in the game, so they don't slander this instant Sakurai classic. Number 4, Super Mario Galaxy 2 Switch 2 Edition. $40 for a 15-year-old game. Well, $70 and you get Galaxy 1 with it. And you know what? I don't care. This game is still some of Nintendo's finest, and with its free upscaled 4K and 60 frames per second upgrade from the Nintendo Switch version, it is an absolute no-brainer. This game is simply incredible. The perfect way to celebrate Mario's 40th anniversary and get ready for the Super Mario Galaxy movie. The gameplay and orchestral music has not been matched, and though it might not have the same great personal story as Galaxy 1, the power-ups are so creative and brilliantly executed in equally balanced levels, galaxies, that it doesn't matter. It is tempting to say that they should just make Galaxy 3 already, but knowing the 3D Mario team, it is better to let them leave this as the brilliant experience that this is, and create something unique for the Nintendo Switch 2. $40 for a game this good in upscaled 4K and 60 frames per second is all we need. And say what you will, but it wasn't 60 like Skyward Sword HD was back in 2021 before inflation. This gem has a 97 on Metacritic for a reason. And the same goes for number 3, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild Nintendo Switch 2 Edition. For most of us, this is why we returned back to 2017's Game of the Year. Well, that and the new Zelda Notes feature. I wish it was added to the game itself, but it worked well with the phone as well. Anyway, why Breath instead of Tears? A reason to start another playthrough. Well, Nintendo definitely delivered that. Open world Zelda in 60 frames per second, allowing the best that the Nintendo Switch had to offer in the best possible way. For the Switch 2 edition, $70. But since you, by all indications, already own Breath of the Wild, the upgrade was $10, or free if you, like me, have a shared family membership or Switch Online expansion pack. And also, Zelda's just a vibe, and though Tears offers more, this game has the better characters, side quests, Hyrule Castle, and definitely consistency. It is the original, and the Zelda game with the most tragic, post-apocalyptic setup filled with guardians ready to chase and smite you down. If you haven't played it, it is about time, as discovering and exploring this Hyrule for the first time is something I really wish I could do again, especially in 60 frames per second. The only reason it isn't higher is that it isn't brand new, and because we got some true masterpieces in 2025. Number 2, the Indie Triforce. I refuse to separate this trio as they have to be here all at once. Which games am I talking about? Of course, Hollow Knight Silksong. A 30-hour-long game for $20, some of the best value that money can buy for a game on the Nintendo Switch 2. And with such quality and improvements from the original, there's no wonder why it is so beloved. We thought that after such a long wait, as it was revealed when Tears of the Kingdom, the sequel to Breath of the Wild was in 2019, there was no way to live up to the high expectations. But boy did Hornet and Team Cherry deliver. The same can be said about Bolex Pit. $15, an absolute steal for such a game. A roguelite that truly challenges your creativity and ability to strategize with amazing replay value. High-paced gameplay, interesting characters and setting makes this a truly addictive experience, and probably the greatest surprise in 2025. Well, with perhaps one notable exception. As of course Supergiant Games and their Green Hades 2 had to be in this trio. A game that builds on the greatness of the original and then goes above and beyond to show that this was the indie year. At $30, it is priced significantly higher than Ball and Silksong, but when it comes to the quality of the game, it might perhaps be even better. And we didn't even cover the Deltarune chapters or Expedition 33, which of course, as of this video, is still not on the Nintendo Switch 2. Still, there can only be one winner, and that is number 1, Donkey Kong Bonanza. What else? The 3D Mario team delivers yet another masterpiece and in effect have turned Donkey Kong into Nintendo Switch 2s until maybe the next 3D Mario game. The monkey breaks everything to get golden bananas and a lot of other collectibles to make it the Super Mario Odyssey successor that we needed. No new 3D Mario at launch? No problem, as we'll get one in due time. Until then, the path down to the core is filled with variety, callbacks to some of the best elements and characters in the series, and filled with fan favorites. Even the overpriced DLC cannot put a damper on what an absolute surprise and incredible experience this is. The gameplay is the best on the system, the music kicks ass, and is possible to listen to over and over again. The companion Pauline as a child is absolutely the best. Having her voice and singing throughout the smashing quest against banana foes and bosses is just something anyone needs to experience. A system seller true and true, and with one of the best climaxes in Nintendo history. And there you have it, our top 10 Nintendo Switch 2 games so far. 2026 will definitely kick out a number of the games on this list, and possibly even challenge the top spot. But when that happens, we'll get you a new list. But for now, what are your top 10 Nintendo Switch 2 games, and do you think a certain Legends title should have been here? Sound off in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, then be sure to leave a like, subscribe and press the notification bell. Last but not least, a big thanks to you for watching and to all our patreon.com/commonrealm patrons. Special shoutouts go to raw producer Jonathan and heroes Cheryl, Garrett Hoy, Holly Wolf and Kintaro. You all rock, and please enjoy these awesome videos.